Hi everybody, I'm teZa Lord, and I am offering you this gift of how I practice yoga. Since I was a teenager, I have been almost a daily practitioner of the Hatha yoga, which is the physical yoga. And by 21, I was meditating. So what I'm offering to you is 7 videos, and they go step by step by step by step. And at the end of the 7 videos, you will know everything I know. And that's a lot of years of studying and practicing and sharing and teaching yoga. I am a professional artist and author and spiritual activist. So this is a special thing for me to do yoga videos because it's I'm so busy. I don't have time to teach, but this is my way of sharing with the world what I love, which is the practice of yoga. So we'll begin, and for you to know that each of the 7 videos will follow the consecutive steps by which yoga is based, which is a philosophy of energy and raising up of consciousness. So instead of the usual way of people saying, oh, I want to get buff and I want to really have a strong body, we're going to start with the spiritual aspect of yoga. And that's because that's the most important, because it has to do with the breathing. So yoga is mental, physical, and spiritual. But first, this very first level of consciousness, which is called a chakra, is going to be about making friends with your breathing. And the reason we're starting with breathing is because all of life is about the breath. We breathe and therefore we're alive. So I wanted you to see my face because everything we're going to be doing is going to be in this space, which covers all different stretching of my beautiful 73-year-old body in just a week. And you'll be able to see all of me. I don't do any editing. I just give you what I've got. So I have a seat here, and believe it or not, everything in yoga is based upon finally getting to this place, which is called the asana. It's not asana, it's asana. And an asana is where one meditates. So even though all the poses end with the word asana, tadasana, savasana, all the different garuasanas, and they all end, most of them do, with the ending of asana. That means that we sit in a place to meditate, and all the poses lead up to that state where we are connected with our breath, and we get into that very deep relationship with breathing. So we're going to begin that way. So some of you might want to use a prop. So you can either get yourself a prop or use a bunch of towels, or if you have an extra yoga mat, you can fold it up and tape it up, which I like, and you can use that to sit under your hip bones, because when you raise yourself up a little bit, it's much better for your back and your posture than just sitting flat on the floor. Of course, if you're very, very limber, you can sit on the floor. Now, this other one can be put under like a knee or some other place where it makes you feel comfortable. What you want is no body aches. So the purpose of doing all Hatha yoga, the physical, is so that when we get ready to have the relationship with our spiritual self, we have no physical pain. And that's the beauty of yoga, because we start, for those of us who didn't have teachers, I didn't have a teacher, I started from a book, and I just started with the poses. And then I learned about mentally focusing, which is what we're doing today with the specific way of tuning into our breath. And then finally, after years of doing yoga on my own and having some teaching, I tapped into the spiritual side. So we're going right for the juggler today. We're going right to the heart of yoga. So join me And I want to tell you that nothing's going to be repeated too much. In these 7 videos, we're going to go step by step. So what you hear today, if I make reference to it in another video, I will not be explaining. So make sure you're really comfortable with this video. Watch it as many times as you can until you're ready for the next step. And for those of you who are looking for an intense workout, you can skip to number 7 if you want, but you might lose a lot of benefit, because this is scientific and this is a step-by-step procedure, and you'll just lose a lot of the nuances if you think you're just looking for a workout. So here we are. We're on our asana, which is the seat that we sit on in order to become connected. And we have a human body and we have lungs. And every single person alive, even if they are in a coma, is breathing. And so this is the very first beginning of consciousness, the breath, tapping the breath. The first chakra has to do with survival. What do we do to stay alive? How do we eat? How do we get out of the weather? How do we avoid being eaten by the wild beasts or getting violently in the way of a crazy person today? This is all first chakra stuff. We're going to tune into the breath, which is the best fortification also for strengthening our outer relationship with all that is in existence. And we'll be doing a few movements once we get the breath harnessed. So you can either close your eyes or not, and know that even if you are a blind person, I will be explaining everything in minute detail. So do not feel you have to look at the screen all the time. Matter of fact, it would be good if you just watch this once and then listen to it the next time you do it and go with me into the deepest state you possibly can, which helps if you have your eyes closed for this particular exercise. When we start doing the physical ones, you do not want to close your eyes at all, but we'll get to that later. So here we go. We're going to start breathing just normally and naturally, always through our nose. Just have a nice, gentle beginning pace. Feel the air coming in through your nose. Feel the air leaving your nose. No big problems. Make sure everything is shut off around you. No screens, no phone, no text. If you want to have a gentle music playing, do. We will have music playing once we get our breath worked out here. I don't want you to be distracted by anything. So breathing in and breathing out at your own pace. Now you can probably hear my breath, I hope, through the microphone, because it's good if you make a noise. The noise is called Ujjayi Breath, which means the fierce warrior breathing. And you make it by tightening the lower part of your throat. So let's just practice how to tighten it. Pretend you have a birthday candle in front of you and you go, blow the candles out. You feel that tight at the bottom of your throat? Or whisper your name. You can feel that tightness at the bottom of your throat. Now keep that tightness as you're breathing. And hear how you can hear the breath. Exaggerate it if you want. Make the breath so it becomes your teacher. That's what this is all about. Yoga is tapping into our inner power. I'm just guiding you how. Once you understand all this, you won't need a teacher unless you want to explore the many, many different ways of doing yoga that people have. Now, this is a gentle, kind breath. If anything comes up in your mind like, oh, what the heck is going on? Why am I here? I want to be doing headstands and sweat and get my six-pack abs going. If that's happening, just be kind to yourself and know that this is the very first step of a journey that will take you to the highest, the penultimate, the ultimate, and beyond, the connection between your earthly self and your eternal self, your spirit. It all begins with making friends with your breathing. Feel the breath coming in and out. Feel the comfort of knowing that this is your gift of life. Now we're going to go into a next step of counting the breath in. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out, 2, 3, 4. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Continue counting. Continue breathing, of course. And know that you're now engaging your mental capacities with something that is spiritual. So we have the spiritual, which is the breath, which happens even when you're asleep, even when you're unconscious. It's your spiritual connection to life. Then we go into the mental, which is watching the breath for a certain length of time. It could be a count of 5 if you're more comfortable, or a count of 3 if you have a lung issue. Whatever is most comfortable for you, make sure it's your comfort zone. Even though I'm suggesting a count of 4, experiment and see if you can maintain whatever count you have chosen. So, the spiritual, the breath itself. I'm talking, but you're continuing breathing, don't forget. The mental, which is now watching with vivid interest and counting. Now we have the physical. And to show you that, I'm going to come closer to the camera, because the physical has to do with the diaphragm. The diaphragm is a flat muscle that's above your intestines and below your lungs, and it controls by going in and out like this, or actually it's more like a parachute going, pushing up the lungs and pushing down. It controls your breathing. So the diaphragm is the physical aspect of breathing that opera singers know about, and people who are going through hard times like pain are taught, because when you tune into this kind of breathing, it alleviates pain and it helps you to focus on having good, strong, deep breaths So I'm turning to the side to show you. As I breathe in, I'm releasing my diaphragm. And as I breathe out, I'm punching up the diaphragm with my ab muscles. Breathing in, breathing out. Can you see that? I'm trying to get an outline here against the wall. Breathing in, I'm pushing it out on purpose. Breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. As you're sitting, you can just have your hand gently on your belly. Breathing in, feel your hand expand. And breathing out, your hand contracts in toward your spine. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. So now we have the physical, which is using the diaphragm. The mental, which is getting all this coordinated, and possibly you're still counting, but making sure the amount of time coming in the in-breath is equal to the out-breath. And then the spiritual is the gift of life. The fact that we are breathing, even if we forget about the mental and the physical. So before I go sit down, I'm coming up to the camera to show you another thing. As you continue with your breathing, don't stop. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the expression on our face, which is very important in yoga. It's called Drishti. Drishti means that the eyes are focused on one thing. They're never going like this, or checking out somebody in the second row of a class, or seeing how I look in the mirror. No. Yoga is always focused on one spot. And if there's no mirror, then you pick like a little tiny dot somewhere, either on a carpet or a leaf if you're outside, or a little something that won't blow away, not a dandelion puff that goes all over. Focus your eyes on one spot. And then the other part of the Drishti, which is the whole face, is a pleasant look on your lips. So there's never anything like this. Oh, gotta do this. Whenever you see somebody like that, they are not practicing yoga. They are in the gym. So you can do, it's called a Buddha smile. I call it a Buddha smile. It has just a little tiny upturn. It's not like that, but it's just a tiny little upturn. And it's good for training the muscles, but it's also just to bring affirmation and joy and ease into the practice that we're embarking on. So the Drishti is going to be a very important part of our time together, including all the other little things that we're going to be learning. So as the Drishti is focused with the eyes on one particular spot, it could be internally. If you have your eyes closed, keep your eyes focused on, maybe you see a spot of light. Maybe you can think of your third eye, which is called the Mula Banda. The third eye is the blue pearl. Or if your eyes are open, choose a little spot on the floor in front of you, or the rug, or a mirror is fine. I use a mirror, and I'll talk about that later. So I'm going to sit down now, because with our Drishti working and our breathing, mental, physical, and spiritually attuned, and our posture comfortable, if you have to be like this for now, don't worry about it. That's going to get better as we do our work together. But if you can possibly just start rolling your shoulders back with the breath in and breath out. Don't forget to breathe. Even if I forget to say breath out, don't ever hold your breath. Breathing in and out. Gently roll those shoulders. And let's roll them forward. Remember, the Drishti is the focus of the eyes, always steady, never roaming around, and the pleasant Buddha smile. And once more, come back with our shoulders, breathing in and out. It's so quiet where I am in my yoga shed. I call it the Santosa shack, which means contentment. I can hear all sorts of things going in my shoulders and in my neck. And you will too if it's quiet enough where you are. It's good. It's all getting blood in there. So now I want you to breathe in and come up like you're shrugging, like, I don't know what's going on. And take your elbows in the back and try to touch them. But of course you won't be able to. And then put your hands down and see how your chest has been thrust out and your shoulder blades are like wrapped on your back like angel wings. And this is a very good posture. Of course, to maintain this, you have to have developed muscles to maintain this. So it may just be a stretch for a moment, and then you'll slump back into your ordinary one. But whenever you're feeling tight or you want to loosen up, especially sitting at the computer desk, this is a good way to do it. Let's do it one more time. So first we're rounding the shoulders, and that's also opening up the chest, helping us to breathe better. I have a prop under my one knee just because I feel more comfortable. I am sitting on a bolster, which is an old yoga mat. We have so many things going on here already. And now the shrug with the breath in and breath out. Get those elbows to touch or want to touch, and breathe out. Let your shoulders come down and gently put your hands on your knees or thighs. So we're going to do some neck stretches. And first we're going to just do very gentle isometrics, because if any of you have neck issues, just be very gentle and very slow, and eventually we're going to loosen things up. So I'm going to take my left hand, hold it against my left forehead, and I'm going to press into it, going to the left. And it's very gentle. I'm counting 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And gently come back. If you have to help it come back, that's fine. We're starting really slowly because it's better to be gentle with your neck. The same thing with the right hand. Put it up against your right forehead. It's actually on the side of the head. You can see it's directly on the side. And then I'm going to press my head going toward the right. And I'm pressing like crazy with my hand into it. So what's happening here, and you're counting 5, and you're stretching the neck muscles on the left-hand side, on the opposite side. And release. Okay, so we're going to do it again. Most of the asanas that we do, the poses, because a pose is called an asana, and where we're sitting is the asana, we're going to do twice, because the first time you're just getting used to it. The second time your body has responded and you're loose. So now we go to the second time, and bringing your head over to the left, pushing into the head, going to the right, and feeling your right hand side of your neck opening up, and making sure you're really pressing hard against that head. If I let go of my hand, it would be a drastic stretch, so don't do that. And bring your head back up. And on the other side, the right hand pressing, and the left head, your head is pressing into the right hand, and we're getting the stretch on the left side. It's a lot of lefts and rights and feets and everything. It's easy to get mixed up when you're giving instructions for yoga. And release. Okay, good. Now, that's just to warm things up. So we're going to take our eyes, and the Drishti is going to go from the front to the side. The Drishti now is going to be the side. So when I say the Drishti, that means my eyes are totally focused. I have a nice convenient spot on my wall. Sometimes I actually make a mark on the wall just with a little magic marker so I can have a Drishti point because I don't have such dirty walls. And I'm feeling this nice stretch. And now we're going to take our head with the Drishti in the front. Drishti goes to the right hand side. Pick another spot on that side of the wall and gently, not forcefully, feel your neck stretching to the left. And your eyes are focused on a spot. And come back. Now, here's the trick about the Drishti. Whenever your eyes are moving, that's where your body wants to go. So the Drishti is very important, not just for maintaining the serenity of a mood, to be optimistic and to be totally in a positive frame of mind, but it actually tells your body, we're moving in a different angle. So there's a relationship going on between every single structure in your body, just like we are a microcosm of what's happening in the world. Everything is interconnected. So true is with our body. So the second time now, we're going to take our Drishti and move it to the left. Pick a spot and don't force yourself. Just pick a nice spot and your eyes can stay on that spot. Now take your eyes a few inches to the back of that spot and see what happens. See that, and you can feel a little difference, and check it out, what the eyes do. And gently come back, and everything's very easy and fluid. I always say it's like moving in a sea of honey. And now we're going to take our Drishti and move it to the right. Once again, focus on one spot right across from your right shoulder. And now take your eyes and move them a few inches or feet, however you want, way to the back of that spot, and feel how your neck automatically gets an extra little boost. And bring it back. Very good. Wow, I hope you guys are having fun doing this. Okay, now we're going to do side turns, and I want to tell you there's a big difference between, a lot of teachers say, oh, try to get that ear to touch the side. No, what I'm saying is we want to open the neck up when we do these side stretches, so it's a really different head trip. So here we go. We're going to start with our Drishti straight in the middle, and we're going to keep our Drishti straight in the middle because we're not going to turn our head. We're going to bring our ear close to our shoulder, but the focus is on opening the neck on the right-hand side. You can even put your right hand out and stretch and feel that wonderful stretch in your neck. Now, don't forget, you're going to be continuing breathing. So here's the mental part of yoga. You have to coordinate all this. It keeps you very occupied. And we're going to come back up because we first just have a gentle stretch. Now we're going to take our Drishti, keep it in the center, and bring our head over to the right, but we're focusing on stretching and opening up the left side of our neck as much as it wants to go, with our left hand out, palm facing forward, and breathing and feeling that stretch. Oh, it feels so good. Yum. And come back to center. Great. Now we're going to do it a second time. And we're going to take our left ear toward the left shoulder, but the focus is on the right hand side, opening that neck And putting the right hand out, palm facing forward. Drishti is either on a spot or you can close your eyes and feel this nice stretch, focusing on your breathing also. Stretching, breathing, Drishti, yes. And come back to center. And the other side, right ear goes towards right shoulder. Keep the shoulders down, don't hunch them up. Keep the right head, the right ear going towards the shoulder, but we're focusing on the left side of the neck, opening. Don't move your Drishti off of the center, don't move to the side. And the extended left hand, palm is facing forward. And just enjoy that beautiful stretch and come back to center. Now sometimes if you have a weakness in your neck, I've seen people give instructions where, I'm going to just show you, where you can actually help your neck come back like that. So it's up to you. If you have an extremely weak neck, please be gentle with it. Help it come back up. Don't do anything that's going to strain your neck. And you have to be the one who knows what's going on with your body. And this is very important. So we're going to continue breathing. And you're very mindful of the regular in and out. And you're very mindful of the Drishti that is now has a little Buddha smile. Not a joker face, but never a grimace. And if you ever feel that you're making too much of an effort and you feel your face going into a frown, know that you are not doing yoga. You are doing something else. So as you continue with the breathing, I'm going to talk a little bit more about how you have to become aware of what's going on inside of your body. This is imperative for us to continue with our work together. So it's going to be right here next to breathing, and the Drishti is awareness, body awareness. So what does that mean? That means that if you're having a bad neck day, be gentle. Like let's say you slept very strangely and you woke up with a crick in your neck, that hurts. So you know that you have a different kind of a neck today than you did yesterday. So you want to be very kind to your neck. And as we do our neck stretches, you want to say, I'm a little funky on one side, so I'm going to go just a tiny bit rather than what I did the day before. And maybe I need to help it up a little bit because it got really stressed. Maybe you even have a whiplash. Sometimes people get whiplashes from dogs pulling on their chain or a car accident, of course. Necks are very delicate things, but we're going to be doing a lot of neck strengthening asanas. And so don't worry, your neck will get strong by the end of our journey together. The one last thing I want to share with you today, because it's very important, and we'll be getting into more physical asanas in our next time together, because we're going to be raising the energy up from survival to the next consciousness chakra, which is the second chakra, which is about creativity. We're going to be moving our bodies creatively and thinking about how consciousness is used creatively. That's why we have to have clear consciousness. So you're focusing on your breathing as you're listening to me. The next thing I'm talking about is called the Mula Banda. Now that sounds very exotic, and a lot of yoga teachers never even mention it until you've already been studying for decades. But to me, it is so important that I'm going to talk about it right now because so many of the asanas we'll be doing are about stabilizing and balancing and strengthening. And the Mula Banda, which is called a lock, Banda means lock, and Mula means it's at the very base of the spine, which is where the first chakra is located. The first chakra is located at the very base of the spine, and it has a color. The color is red, survival. And it has a mantra, which is Lam, Lam, Lam. So when I talk about the Mula Banda, I'm talking about, right now I am using a Mula Banda, but you can't see it because it's internal. And it is a lock that we form by squeezing all the muscles in what's called the perineum, which is also called the pelvic floor, which holds everything together. And we're just going to do a few exercises here so you become familiar with the Mula Banda. And in the future, when we start doing our asanas, the poses, you will already be so familiar with the Mula Banda that all I have to say is engage your Mula Banda and you will know what I mean. So the Mula Banda is something that you use every time you really have to pee and you can't get to a bathroom or a bush. So when you really have to pee, you know what I'm talking about. You have that squeezing feeling in there and you squeeze it hard to make sure that nothing's releasing without your permission. That's the Mula Banda. So to squeeze it is something that we can do. It's also called the Kegel effect for women. You know, it's very good for keeping the woman's functioning strong. And the men also have the Mula Banda, but it doesn't affect their sexual parts as much as the women benefit from doing this Mula Banda. So we're going to pretend just for a minute that you're in the grocery store and you have a line and you can't get to the bathroom, and all of a sudden you feel, oh, the urgency, it is here. Well, of course you can control it. So you squeeze, and let's squeeze now, and squeeze. And squeeze, you feel it? Yeah, you can't see it. It's invisible. Squeeze it. Nobody knows what's going on except you. And now squeeze it for 1, 2, 3, and release. That's the Mula Banda. Breathe in and squeeze that Mula Banda. 2, 3, 4, 5, and release. Yes, that's the Mula Banda. So whenever you have a moment, practice squeezing, squeezing, squeezing the perineum, all those muscles. Pretend you have to pee, even if you can't pee, even if you don't have to pee, just squeeze and then bring yourself to holding it for longer periods. And the way that we'll be using this banda, the Mula Banda, which is at the base of the spine, is for sustaining poses that are very difficult to, virtually impossible to hold unless you have engaged the Mula Banda. And that's something like standing on one leg. It's called tree pose, Vrikasana. And see, it ended with asana. Vrik means tree, asana means pose. So you'll be getting all this. It'll be coming so natural. By the time we get to our 3rd or 4th lesson, I'll just be saying, okay, make sure your Mula Banda is strong, and you will know the difference. So now, as we continue breathing, we're going to go into our ending time here, which is always going to end with connecting to that sacred place inside of ourselves that is the whole point of the journey of doing yoga. Yes, we get strong bodies. Yes, we increase our immune systems. Yes, we have terrific bodies, but we become still in our minds because we're working with breath. And we become calm about life in general because we have learned to accept things as they are by working with our mental, physical, and spiritual all together. That's what this life is all about. Mental, physical, and spiritual. So I'm a big lover of chanting, and I am going to chant. And you don't have to join me, but you might want to try. If it's new and funky for you, you'll get used to it because I'm always going to either begin or end our time together with the seed mantra, which is Om. It's also pronounced Aum, Aum, instead of Om, like rhyming with home. Sanskrit people, they pronounce it with two syllables, Ah and Oh, Om, Aum. You'll get it. Aum instead of just Om. And that is called the seed mantra. And the first chakra, as I said earlier, the mantra is Lam. 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 So we will just sing it 3 times. Om Lam. Om Lam. And for each of our lessons, we will be going to a new and higher elevation of consciousness, and each one of those has its own mantra. So as we continue, we will be singing all the mantras of the chakras together. And after I finish singing 3 times, I just want you to sit or lie down if you want to, because now's the quiet time. If you're lying down, it's called Savasana, which means the dead pose, but I call it the aware corpse. I give different names to asanas, but the Savasana is when you're lying down and just being absolutely still. So you've already learned a few names of yogic things. So now you can join me. You can either listen or you can participate in the chant of Om Lam, and then we're going to be quiet and you're going to continue listening to your breath. Just listening, not engaging in the counting, just listening to the breath for however long you want. And that is meditation, just stilling the mind. During that time, we're quiet together. If a thought comes into your mind, just watch it, like as if it was a cloud drifting by on a beautiful day. And the trick is you don't talk to it. You just watch it. And it disappears, just like the clouds do. And it takes practice. Little by little, you will become better at meditation. So don't be frustrated and be very kind to yourself. So I am going to say goodbye for now. Namaste. That means my light recognizes your light. Namaste to you all. And namaste to myself. Because once I chant, I am not going to speak anymore. And we'll meditate together. Until next time, my friends. Namaste. Om Lam. Om Lam. Om Lam.